Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Becoming Anchored podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Laura Deneen. Thank you so much for listening in and tuning into the show today. I'm really excited for today's content. If you're new to the Becoming Anchored platform, welcome. We are really about helping you move towards peace and more acceptance with your body. If you're in the state of Tennessee and you're looking for therapy, we would be so honored to see you through our sister company, Anchored Counseling Company. And if you're not in Tennessee but wanting therapy, we encourage you to reach out to someone local to you. Okay, another popular card that really seems to resonate with people that have purchased the body image card deck or friends of mine who've reviewed the card deck or colleagues. So the next piece that I want to dive into, let me just read you this top component. So it says, dig into the image management component of body image. So I'm going to next read this kind of layered piece. So image management is essentially our desire to be perceived a certain way. This is rooted in deep fear and a longing for connection, belonging, and acceptance from others. Explore how you would like to be perceived. How do you not want to be perceived? What may be happening for you on a deeper level? Does this desire remind you of anyone or an experience you've been through? What is the unmet need? You'll notice, just a side note here, that we talk a lot about our needs on this podcast. Naming our pain points around body image concerns helps us identify additional layers of work that will be beneficial. This supports us to continue moving towards peace with our body. And then on the back side of this card, there's an affirmation, and I'll read it to you here. It says, I acknowledge my human need for connection and belonging, and I'm curious about getting these needs met in ways that are supportive to me and my body. So yeah, image management is something that I talk to clients quite frequently about, honestly, whether someone is struggling with an eating disorder or in eating disorder recovery or struggling with body image, or maybe someone struggling with social anxiety, whatever it might be. Image management shows up quite frequently in the world we live in. And I grew up, just a side note here, in South Carolina, and I have a lot of love for the state of South Carolina. And with any state or kind of social environment that we grow up in, there are wonderful benefits, and then there's also sometimes some consequences. And so oftentimes individuals in South Carolina kind of have this reminder of their grandmother telling them to not leave the house without their face made up, right? So this is kind of a historical example of image management, but essentially it is our desire to be perceived a certain way. So oftentimes this can lead to social anxiety or fears of rejection in social circles. And the reality is that we do need other human beings. We are built for connection, and we are built for belonging and acceptance. It doesn't matter whether you're an introvert or extrovert, right? So we all need connection with other humans. What can happen and what can lead us kind of awry is when we try to get that connection met in unhealthy ways. Or when we show up inauthentically, it doesn't really give other people the opportunity to get to know us on a deeper level. And so I share my story of growing up in South Carolina where, I just remember different experiences where, everyone was kind of made up, and there was a certain kind of social code, if you will, for different, social events like birthday parties or bridal showers or baby showers. And some of that is fun to get ready and to, buy a new dress maybe and all the things. But what happens internally if you feel like you're not measuring up? And then what are you doing, and what consequences are you maybe experiencing that lead you to image manage? And so image management can have a lot of consequences because we can start to engage in harmful behaviors towards our bodies. We can start to become disconnected from our bodies and our needs. And it can honestly start to feel performative, right? So I mentioned this level of authenticity and transparency. If we're trying to manage our image really, really in a way that doesn't align with our value systems, then that can become consequential in and of itself, because people don't really have the opportunity to know the true us. And then our bodies might also experience the consequences. So I think this is really one card that resonates with a lot of clients of mine, that resonates with people who've bought the deck, because to some extent, we all image manage. It's really about being aware of that desire to be perceived a certain way, being aware of, if showing up with authenticity is important to us, and being aware of what the connection is between image management and body image struggles. So do you believe that you have to look a certain way to be accepted? And if the answer is yes to that question, then those people that you're trying to get acceptance from might not be your people. There really is a difference between kind of being accepted by a group of people versus truly belonging and being seen and known. And when we can really give ourselves permission to fully take off our masks, so to speak, I think that is one fruitful way that we move towards peace with our bodies. And so I really wanted to talk through this card as well. And then the last one that I want to talk through today, so at the top, here's the intervention. It says practice naming somatic sensations before, during, and after an emotional experience, either with self or others. So our bodies give us information about our emotional state and are constantly trying to communicate with us. Our job is to learn to pay attention to how, what, and why our body may be communicating. Examples of cues. So difficulty catching our breath may indicate a fear response. Bodily sensations such as tingly, hot, heavy may indicate an anger or shame response. Our bodies are wise and give us cues about what is happening internally in our bodies, externally in our environments, and relationally with others. So that's that 3-prong level. And then the affirmation on the back of this card is, my somatic sensations provide cues to my needs. So that's what that affirmation looks like. And yeah, I love tuning into this and supporting myself and clients of mine in really just getting very curious about what is happening in our body in any given moment. So I'll give you an example. I had a doctor's appointment this morning. It was early in the morning. I live in South Nashville, so I had to drive up to Nashville. And I noticed my breath was kind of short, right? And I was able to cue into that because I was in heavy traffic. It was kind of stressful. There was a lot of people on the road, and I also didn't want to be late to this appointment. And so that is one thing that was telling me, like, oh, I'm a little bit stressed. I'm a little bit afraid. When I get to the doctor's office parking lot, I need to take a few deep breaths, and I need to really notice my feet on the ground when I get out of my car. And so I was able to do that. And those small, simple things that sometimes we just push to the side are really, really important. And when we can start to adapt this kind of posture that our bodies are wise and they are constantly giving us information, then we can lean into the information that they're giving us. And so I love to use this not only with ourselves, but what we experience somatically in any given environment, and then relationally with others. And so I encourage clients of mine to really notice how they feel in their bodies before, during, and after a relational experience, right? Like, are you dreading going to see someone? Do you feel dismissed during that experience? Or do you find yourself ruminating after that experience? Do you feel really unseen by that experience? Or conversely, do you feel really excited and at peace about going to get coffee with a friend or lunch with a friend? Do you feel so seen and cared for in those moments? And do you feel a sense of like rejuvenation after you spent time with that person? Those cues are really, really vital for us. And they're vital not only for ourselves, but also in relationship with others. And I love this practice of just curiosity and really identifying somatic sensations, because they help us cue into our experiences. They help us identify our emotional states, and they help us really move towards this posture that, like, oh my goodness, our bodies are so wise, and they are chock full of rich information if we slow down and if we give ourselves the opportunity to listen. And so thanks for being willing to go through a few of these cards with me. I'll look at them every now and again too, and just try to marinate on one of the cards, even outside of the therapy work that I do with clients, because I think they're good reminders for all of us. And as I say frequently on the podcast, we don't really arrive at this point with body image. It's really a journey, and getting curious about our own journeys in different seasons of life can just be really fruitful. And so your homework today is really to carry one of these affirmations. So I'll read them again. So I acknowledge my human need for connection and belonging, and I'm curious about getting these needs met in ways that are supportive to me and my body. That's if you notice maybe you're struggling more so with the image component of body image. If you want to work on body comparison, I choose to extend kindness to my body during this moment of comparison. And then if you're wanting to work on the somatic piece that we closed with, my somatic sensations provide cues to my needs. If this card deck spoke to you, they're available online, no pressure at all, but they are really designed just to help you in your body image journey. So thank you so much for being here on the Becoming Anchored podcast. I'll see you next time. Take good care.